Mic check, mic check. Welcome back to another episode of the Second Half Podcast. I'm your host, Jabari Saunders. We got another great episode coming your way. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like, follow, and subscribe. Go ahead and hit the link, grab some merch for your boy. Make sure you grab your favorite hoodies. Without further ado, you know we got to have 13-year pro, three-time NBA All-Star, first-team All-Rookie team, not only an NCAA champion, but in addition, you know he got that ring in the league as an NBA champion, none other than Cyber Twine, Mr. Antoine Walker. Twine, man, appreciate you jumping on the podcast, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's go on ahead and take it from the jump, man. Where you from? Where did the journey begin for you?
Well, I'm from Chicago, South Side. Born and raised, 53rd and Emerald. That must be said. A lot of people sometimes think I'm from the West Side,
Yeah, yeah.
but I'm a South Side guy. Born and raised, for 53rd and Emerald.
Now, obviously, we know you as a basketball player, but did you play any other sports before? You know, you got that round ball put in your hands?
I'm a natural. I grew up naturally loving baseball. Um, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people do know. You got to know me, but my uncle played professional baseball for 18, 19 years. Spent like 9 in the minors, but then
Okay.
like 11 in the major, like 10 years, 9 or 10 years in the majors. I can't really recall. But he played for the Cubs for 3 years, so I got a chance to grow up being a real Cubs fan and going to a ton of Cubs games where he was on the team with Ryan Sandberg, Sean Dunston,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Bull, Leon Durham, Lee Smith, Jody Davis.
Yeah.
So I got a
Them was the
chance as
good
a kid,
days.
which is very unique, to go to a lot of Cubs games. But he had a good career. He played one. He led the league 1 year in pitch hitting. A utility player, played 5 or 6 positions. So I grew up a huge baseball guy. So that was my first love.
Interesting, interesting. We share a lot of those similarities. Baseball was definitely my favorite, but I was on the south side. I was with the Sox most of the time with Frank Thomas and all those guys. Obviously, baseball was a love. Who was the one that ultimately put the basketball in your hand to get you going in that space?
Really, it was like my uncle. We was kind of sports people, baseball, basketball, football. Just in the
Yep.
neighborhood, though. It wasn't really nothing like that we took serious. And then I was always one of those kids that was tall for his age. So it was kind of weird because I was always tall. So even when I was 6 or 7, I always looked 4 or 5 years older because of my
Yeah.
height. So it just became kind of natural. I was a three-sport athlete, just kind of playing sports like any other kid doing it in the city. And when I got taller, when I got to about fourth, fifth grade, started to really start to take it a little bit more serious because of my height. And then it just took off for fifth grade. My elementary school ended up having a visitation, ended up having a basketball team. So I was
Okay.
able to join an actual team in like fifth grade. And mainly because your height, and then that's when all the skill development and learning how to play came about. And I had a very unique situation too. My father was a park supervisor,
Okay.
so I had access to a gym, which a lot of kids don't have.
Yep.
So I was in the gym, always shooting ball and stuff like that. My father would always take me to the park in the gym, and I would have access to it. So that's how I kind of transitioned into playing basketball as well as playing baseball.
I got you. I got you. You know, it's unique that obviously you got this competitive spirit, especially being in the city of Chicago. You know, basketball is very key. Of course, back then, baseball was also one of those sports that everybody played, and you add in football. That's just the things that people just had to do outside to just stay relevant and stay competitive. How did you use that competitive nature to kind of, play against other parts of the city and kind of make a name for yourself?
That's a big part of Chicago. Big part of Chicago history is that we push each other. So just as a kid, just being competitive in the neighborhood, guys that I grew up with, trying to be better than them, and then being able to play competitive sports, actually competition at such a young age in the fifth grade, I think kind of really kind of spearheaded my journey to being competitive. And like I said, I played baseball first, so I was playing two sports. Um, in competitive spirit. So it wasn't like I was playing with my brothers and sisters, and cuz I was actually playing and competing against other kids. So I think that's what kind of helped me really get competitive and want to take these sports very serious.
you're becoming a well-known name. Your name is traveling around the city of Chicago. How did you decide on going to the school that you ended up going to in high school? Because you had so many others, such as King or Simeon and so many others. How did you land on
Mhm.
where you went?
Well, I had a growth spurt, so I went from like 5'10" to 6'4" by eighth grade. So it's crazy when we talk about recruiting. I was getting recruited in eighth grade like I was getting recruited for college.
For college.
Schools were coming at me, public and private. But honestly, man, and I share this, it was really my mom. She basically was like, "Hey, look, you're not going to public school." And this at the time where, and I tell this story all the time. I wanted to go to King. That was my
Really?
first choice to go to King. Yeah, they were the powerhouse in the public league. They had the nice jackets, the new sweet shoes. They had the nice shoes. They had everything going back then. So I wanted to go there. I actually ended up playing
Yep.
with them a little bit going into my freshman year in high school.
Okay.
In eighth grade, played with them. So I really wanted to go there, but my mom she was hell bent, stubborn. Like, you going to private school, Catholic school, you need to pick one of those schools. So I actually took my entrance exam at St. Rita.
Okay.
Um, so I took my entrance exam at St. Rita and was really thinking about going there. That was my first choice, and then end up settling on Mount Carmel and end up going to Mount Carmel. But it was strictly because a school had to let me play two sports. I had to be able to play baseball and basketball. That was first, and then it was I wanted to go to a situation where obviously they was going to be really good. Mount Carmel wasn't great in basketball at the time, so that's why they wasn't high on my list. But my mom told me to pick a school, and Mount Carmel was the best school for me at that time. And transition, transportation wise, and getting
Yeah.
back and forth home. I was a kid from 53rd and Emerald. It was an easier commute for me from getting
Yep.
there to St. Rita. So a couple other small factors, but the main factor, Mom Dukes, man. Mom Dukes was like you going to private school.
Man, I gotta love my Dukes, of course. So obviously, you over there at Mount Carmel. You got another big name, like you said. Basketball, y'all weren't necessarily the big powerhouse, like you said, the Kings or the St. Rita's or Simeons, any of those schools. And you there, then you also got this well-known football guy that everybody knew of, but he was also playing basketball and baseball with you.
Yeah, Donovan, unbelievable. Yeah,
Yeah, tell me a little bit about what that dynamic was with Donovan now.
it was actually really good, man. Donovan was an unbelievable athlete. I mean, obviously a great quarterback in high school and pro and everything. But he was a great basketball player. A lot of people don't know that. And we both had the same mentality that we wanted to play both sports. We both athletic. We both wanted to play both sports. And Don was my second leading scorer. And a lot of people don't know that. He was averaging 20 by our senior year. He was averaging 20 a night. I mean, and he was,
Yeah,
athletic. He can, play defense. He can run. He can jump. But very talented basketball player. Could have easily played. I felt like he could have easily played mid-major.
yep.
Division I basketball. If that would have been his first love, or took it first, easily. But that's what it was. Our school was, and I actually went to school with a lot of good guys that went to college. We were so competitive being an all-boys school that's what it was. It was always about athletics, pushing each other, wanting to be the best. Who's going to go to the better school? Who's going to? So it was fun and competitive. So it also gave us a goal that it made make sure everybody wanted to go to college. So it was fun.
When did you know that it clicked for you? Like, hey, I can hoop. Like, I'm one of the best at this time because you got that notification. It seemed like you understood that early for you.
Well, I would say my eighth grade year, I started to really come on the scene. I was 6'4", and I was starting to dominate at that level. They were starting to put, how it was back in the day. They were starting to rank kids and going to eighth grade,
Street
yeah, and all
Smiths.
those stuff starting to rank kids. So I was starting to get national recognition for it. And when I had that growth spurt, I went into high school. I was 6'4", man. So it was like my strike zone got big. I love baseball, but now what I mean. It was kind of the transition process was taking place. Like, I love playing shortstop, third base, and people always laugh at me like, you was too tall. Like, yeah, I was. I said, but at first I wasn't. I just grew,
You had
and
that
what I
growth
mean.
spurt.
So
Yeah.
they want, yeah. So they wanted to move me to the outfield. They wanted to move me to first base, and it just got. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to play the position I wanted to play. So it kind of ran me away from baseball a little bit. And then also, being from Chicago, baseball shit, it's about 35, 40 degrees.
It's cold out there, baby.
Yeah, so end of February, March, when baseball season starts, it's freezing. I was like, man, I can't do this. So that
Yeah.
kind of transitioned me into that thing. But I would say my freshman year going in and playing varsity, um, averaging like 10, 11 points a game and having some success. And then my sophomore year is when everything really just took off for me. Had a good sophomore season, almost averaged like 20 points, but I got invited to the Nike All American camp. And that's when I started to get the national notoriety and kind of really just spearheaded my basketball career, kind of took off from there. So I would say after my sophomore year going to Nike camp, everything changed.
Talking to AJ Guyton a couple of weeks ago, or actually last month, and he shared the same thing. He was like, once he got to Nike All American camp, that was the game changer for him. Like it opened up everything. Recruiting started to open up and everything.
Yeah, it was actually me and Michael Herman.
Oh, okay,
Michael
yeah,
Herman, yeah, Michael Herman went as well. So to go on the Nike All American camp. This was like in Indianapolis when it was in Indy, and
yep.
when you had to go to camp, you had to go to class. People don't remember that when you had to go to camp, they had like a little summer school class and everything for you to go to. Yeah,
Yeah, they
so
had you on
sophomore
your
year,
game.
man, is when life changed completely.
So obviously, Nike All American Camp open up doors. You get that nod to go and play McDonald's All American. Recruited. Take me through like what you're recruiting. Who was all in your inbox? Who was on your phone? Who was on your doorstep trying to recruit you at that time? Of course, you chose Kentucky, but who else was around there at that time that was in your ear?
My junior year when I went to camp, went to ABCD camp, I left camp top 4 or 5 player in the country. It really changed for me. So bunch of Midwest, Big Ten schools recruiting me, few West Coast, but the schools that really, I obviously at that time, Illinois was very good. Michigan was coming off the 5-5. Um, DePaul was really good. They were very good and competitive.
Yep.
And Tommy Kleinschmidt had just been the man there. And I played against TK my freshman year, and him being from the Catholic League, so it kind of resonated. And my high school coach graduated from DePaul, so they was in play.
Oh man.
Yeah, so they were in play. Um, then obviously Kentucky, but I was really looking at Big Ten schools more like Michigan because obviously what the 5-5 did, Illinois, um, and then Kentucky, and then West was probably UNLV. So I took 5 visits. Um,
Okay.
so I went out to UNLV, Michigan, Illinois. Actually, it's crazy part. I went to Kentucky after I picked Kentucky, which was crazy. Um, yeah, which was
You
crazy.
you
But
knew you was
DePaul,
going there.
so
Pitino was already. He said, "Hey man, I got everything you need for you here. You all good."
yeah, so it was kind of like without the presentation was so good. But I did the traditional thing, which was standard back then. I had 10 home visits, so I had 10 schools come to my home. We picked out 10 schools. Then I picked 5 schools to visit, and basically, I fell in love with Kentucky style. A lot of people don't remember before I got there. I took his number. Jamal Mashburn was there.
Yeah.
Mirror my game a little bit behind Jamal Mashburn and the way he played, being a 6'8", 6'9" guy who can dribble, shoot the three. So I kind of fell in love with the style more so than anything. And Coach Pitino came to a couple of my games, and I had great games. And when he came to the house, he sold my mom, he sold me, and that was it. Um, but I was entertained by the Illinois. The great Jimmy Collins was the assistant coach of Illinois. I thought about going there. Obviously, Joy Meyer was at DePaul with my high school coach,
Yep.
the Ties.
Yep.
So I knew I was going to be kind of in the Midwest, close to home. But the style of play and the way Kentucky played, and when I saw how Mashburn was playing, I just kept envisioning myself playing that type of style. So that's why I ended up doing that.
Let me ask you go back a little bit because you mentioned something that just jogged my memory. How was you able to go to Nike camp and ABCD camp? Because at that time it was like, all right, you know how shoe brands are. It's like you stick with one shoe brand and you go that route and that's it.
Well, Nike came. in the beginning. So I went to Nike camp my sophomore year, but I was a Mac Irvin fire guy. Right? So obviously Mac
Yep.
Irvin. So me and Mike Irvin, best friends still to this day. Mike father was had AAU program, and I played with him. So his shoe brand was under Adidas. Well, at that
Under
time, yeah,
Adidas.
it
I
was under
got you.
Adidas. It was under Adidas with Sonny Vaccaro. So that's how I met Sonny. So now
Okay.
we become an Adidas program from Sonny. I ain't got no choice now. You know what I mean? Because I'm under the AAU Act. Hey,
Yep.
this is the AAU team. So
Yep.
after I started playing AAU on the Adidas circuit, I became that guy under Sonny, and got very close to Sonny, and became an Adidas kid. So that's what led me to go in the ABCD camp my junior year. See, a lot of people don't know this too. They changed the NCAA changed the rules my junior year. You didn't go. You had to go with, I think it was 10 of us that went from the state of Illinois to camp, but you had to play together in camp. You were not allowed to play with other teams or other players. You had to play as a
Oh,
team.
you had to play
A
Team
lot of people don't know
Illinois
that.
versus like Team Wisconsin or Team Kentucky.
Yeah, that's how camp was. They changed the rules. There was some fishy going on with the NCAA.
Of
They changed
course.
the rules, so you had to play with your state. And I always tell the story. It was one of the situations. Our point guard, who we took to camp that year, my junior year, going into my senior year, got hurt the first day, and Mr. Irvin threw the ball at me and was like, "You run point."
Oh, wow.
And bro, I ain't gonna lie. For 5 days, I led the camp in scoring and assists. Like I had never played the point guard position like this. Like I really I just my stock went from I probably was top 25, 30 going into camp. I left there like five, man, in the country. Like,
6'8"
like
point
I really
guard.
like I
That's not
really
around. That's not a normal sight to see.
Yeah, so it was like so it was like it was one of those weird, unique situations. I don't know what Mr. Irvin I always knew I can play and handle the basketball and do certain things, but Mr. Irvin was like, "You my point guard, you go run point." And it took my stock to another level. I never looked back after that, man. My stock risen, and it just showed more schools my versatility. So after that, left camp top five in the country, and it was more or less just picking the right school and picking the right situation. Obviously, we all loved Michigan at that time.
Yep.
You know, they was doing the 5-5 thing. I really thought about going there, but because I knew Juwan and Chris Webber, those guys were going to be gone. There was going to be an opportunity there.
Yep.
But I ain't gonna lie, when I saw Mashburn playing college and how he was playing, I was like, no, that could be me right there.
The system is different.
Yeah, and Coach P sold me on it. That's the reason why I picked it. That was it.
That class that you were playing, who were even some of the people who you played against? Because as I was looking at like McDonald's All American, like you had like Trajan Langdon, you had like Rafe LaFrance, you had what's his name, Mike Wojciechowski, like the guard Duke, like you had like who else
Felipe
was at the
Felipe
ABCD
Lopez.
and Nike? Yeah,
Yeah, Felipe Lopez, Gerard Ward. Made really a class with made. I mean, typically most McDonald's All Americans are high major Division I players, but major Division I players and those guys. And then it's different for us. I always tell this story is that it's different in our time. We came out, it was about picking the right school.
yep,
We were so excited to go to college. We were going to be the first, a lot of guys, first person in their family to go to college. So we was excited about it. Guys wasn't, coming into school, going out, going pro. We was looking forward to college. Everybody wasn't doing what Kevin Garnett and Kobe had did. We were actually looking forward to going to college and competing in college. So that's what was fun about it. So trying to pick the right school, who was going to go to the best school. I remember especially going to our boys' school. That's all we talked about. What college we gonna go to, who gonna go
yep,
to the best school. So
yep,
that was the mentality. So it was all about going to school back then, where so it wasn't thinking about pro at
yep,
that time. You was thinking about you going to the best school, who want that was gonna be the thing. You went pro. But it was about picking the right school. So that's what made that process so fun
yeah.
for me. And being able to go there and go to a school like Kentucky, which was a basketball school that was on the up and coming, that just came out of playing Duke in the Final Four, and what I mean, making deep runs in the tournament. So it was an exciting time for me.
Absolutely. I mean, freshman year, I believe what you was uh SEC MVP, the conference championship
Mhm.
your freshman year, and then y'all go on and win a championship your sophomore year. What's it like playing for Coach P?
Mhm.
Because I feel like what we've been able to see in the tournament the last couple of years, what he's done with St. John's in the previous school, he seems like he's a player's coach, but you wouldn't expect it outwardly in. Like, what's it like for you when you were playing for him?
It was great for me. I always thank him for making me the player that I turned out to be. Um, demanding excellence, demanding work ethic, demanding being in the best shape possible, pushing me to be the best player I could possibly be. That's what he does. It's not going to be pretty. He's not going to be your best friend. He's going to probably make you hate him more than like him in the beginning, until you get the work ethic that he deems is right. It's not about what you think is right. It's what he
Yep.
believes is right.
Right.
But it was great. He loves his players, but he pushes you to the max. I couldn't ask for a better situation for me basketball wise. My first year, like any other kid, I wanted to come in and score 20 points a night. It wasn't there yet. I wasn't ready yet. And he humbled me in that situation, and actually had me thinking about transferring and moving on. But I had to go through
Really?
that, and it's crazy. And not to switch gears to the question, but that's why I laugh sometimes when I see the transfer portal and all these guys, and you wonder why they transfer. I understand the NIL part of it, but these guys just leave school sometimes and don't have the fight when things don't go right. But it just that's the
Facts.
process that I had to go through and learn. And Coach Pete was great at that, pushing me and maxing me. I was 190 pounds soaking wet, man, when I went to college. I had so much work to do on my
Yep.
body, my game. End up leaving there at 235 and greatest shape of my life, and just all of the work and the process that it went through was something that was special. But it was hard. I mean, he's a disciplinarian. He's a guy that's going to get maximize it. He's not going to let shortcut anything. So it was a humbling experience my freshman year. I was homesick. I'm in the South in the country with horses, and I'm a city boy. You know what I'm saying?
Lexington.
And so a lot of people don't understand that I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. So it was a process of just growing up on the court as well as growing up off the court and being by myself and having to learn that. And after my freshman year, man, just to kind of spearhead ahead. After my freshman year, it was unbelievable. The trip that changed my life is that about the trip. Every year schools go on a trip to
Yep.
Europe out the country. So this was our trip was my sophomore year. And we got an opportunity we had to spend the whole summer together. And I took off on the court, man. I went over, my body had developed. I was in the best shape of my life. And we went overseas and played, and we played against European pro teams. And I played tremendous. And I just kind of knew, how you just know? I know my game had turned around. Like my confidence level had always been high, but I was at another level now. Like I felt like I finally arrived. And going into my sophomore year, I kind of took that mentality. I was on a team with 8 other All Americans that were really good. Our practices were tougher than the games, and I'm not
I bet.
just capping and talking shit to be talking. Like our practices were harder than the games. That's how much talent was on the floor. What I mean? I'm going against Walter McCarty, Mark Pope, guys that played significant time in the
Yep.
league every day. You know what I mean? So this is the type of practices that I'm going through. And that sophomore year was something special. I mean, obviously, we won an NCAA championship. We won 27 games straight. Just a magical ride, 36-2. The way we did it, the largest margin of victory. I think we averaged like 24, 25 points a game, margin of victory over everybody.
That's crazy.
Just a fun style we play. It was just an amazing thing. So I always argue, and you know this from they talk about the greatest college teams ever, and obviously we watch UNLV with Larry Johnson them with the Duke teams. I just think we the best. I think the way we dominated with the margin of victory, you got 9 guys that went pro off that team.
Yeah.
I mean, just I don't think that'll be done again where you get 9 guys off one team in the NBA.
Absolutely. Now, y'all definitely were a team that couldn't too many people mess with. You talk about, like you said, you talk about the Dukes and the UNLVs and the UNC, all the Kansas teams, but people somehow forget Kentucky, and the team what you guys had there. I mean, 24 points margin of victory. That ain't nothing to look away from.
Oh no, we roll, man. We used to. That's why, like, if you look at the stats and some of that stuff, like our stats are not like I averaged 15 and think 8, if I'm not mistaken. But it could have easily been 20 and 12. But we didn't finish more games. I ain't played the last 10 minutes of most games.
Y'all was already passing the sticks. Like, hey man, y'all go finish it.
No facts. I led the team in minutes that year. I think I averaged 27.
27 minutes,
I averaged
and that's it.
27. Yeah, so you got to just say if I
Yeah,
got you tack on 8, just tack on 30. Give me the 35 minutes. What my numbers could have been.
yeah, absolutely. You was already
You
putting up
know what I'm
15,
saying?
20. Yeah, yeah. It could have got ugly.
So that's how that's yeah. So people don't understand, but that's how special our team was.
Yep,
That's
yep.
that's how special it was.
Everybody is playing at a high level. When did you have to make that decision, and what was that journey for you to put your name in the draft?
One of the hardest decisions of my life, man. At the time, I'm enjoying college. College is fun. We just won a national championship. Um, you know,
Yep.
we were predicted to win it again the next year because we had everybody possibly coming back except Tony, except our 3 seniors. But we had some new freshmen coming in, so we were projected to win it again. Um, and it was hard to leave, man. I was having so much fun. School was good. Everything was life was good at the moment. And I'll never forget Mike Irvin, me and him on the phone, my best friend, and we was talking, and he was like, "Man, you ever thought about thinking about going pro?" I'm like, "Nah." I'm like, "Nah, I ain't thinking about it." He was like, "Man," he was like, "Man, you probably could go." We just having a conversation, and I went. I turned back the hands of time. I called Sonny Vaccaro. I
Okay.
called Sonny Vaccaro. I said, Sonny, I called him and on the phone. I said, Sonny, I'm thinking about going pro. Um, and he was like, okay, Twan. He was like, I don't want to tell any kids to go pro, but let me make a phone call or two and I'm going to call you back. So 24, 48 hours later, Sonny calls me back and was like, hey, you're a lottery pick. And I don't know if you're going to come out. You're a lottery pick. And he was like, I want you to wear Adidas.
Oh. So that's how that
I was
conversation
like,
that conversation started early.
yeah, so that's he's like, I want you to wear Adidas and you can go live. So at this time, obviously, I got a great relationship with Coach
Yep.
Pitino. I went to the office the next day, talked to my mom, I told her what I was thinking. Went to the office the next day, scared, nervous, sweating, to talk to Coach Pitino and tell him I wanted to go pro. And I remember he wasn't in town, so they called or whatever. They told Coach out what I was thinking about doing, the assistant coaches. So he flew back the next day. He calls me and says, meet me at his house or whatever. He has one of the managers bring me to his house. And I go to the coach's house and I'm ready to get like cursed
Yeah.
out. I'm ready for him to tell me, like, to go in on me.
Yep.
And he basically, I went in there, man, and he was like, listen, you're a lottery pick. He was like, I got to let you go. And like, just blew my mind. And after that, he's like, look, but he's like, we're going to do everything strategically this way. And he basically walked me through my draft process, bro, which was so amazing. I didn't leave school. I didn't do like these kids do now, run and go work out with a
Yep.
trainer and do all that. I stayed at school, stayed the course, finished my classes, worked out twice a day with the strength and conditioning coach and got my shots up and got an apartment down there with Nazi and Alan, my other classmate. We had an apartment. I just stayed right there until like 3 days before the draft. I just stayed focused on the task. I worked out for 9 teams, um, getting ready for the draft. I fly to the teams, come back to Lexington, come back to school. Never lost focus. Just staying focused at basketball, workout, basketball. You know what I mean? Just doing that every day. And the best thing for me, Coach P helped me pick my agent. We flew the agents in to Lexington. David Falk. I ended up signing with David Falk at the time.
Yep.
But I brought in about 4 or 5 agents. He sat in through the process with me. He helped me financially. Everything was just perfect. I just stayed right there and just locked in to like 3, 4 days before the draft. And then ended up going, worked out for 9 teams, and the rest is history after that. Ended up working out for the Celtics, and they picked me in number 6. Actually traded for me
Traded up for
the
you.
day of the draft. Yeah, they traded up. They were picking 9. They traded up to 6, and the rest is history after that, bro.
Wow. Wow. I mean, for you to make that decision and say, hey, I'm putting my name in the hat, but then you think about it, arguably the best draft class ever with names like
Oh yes.
AI, Kobe, you, like it was just names on names on names. And not only that, like we
Yep.
talking Hall of Famers. Like
Don't forget Steve
Steve,
Nash.
you know what I'm saying? Steve, and these are people who like what they lottery picks, but they further down. It's just like that's crazy. Like you
Yeah.
had nothing but dogs in
I
that
think. I
draft
mean,
class.
people think I'm biased. No, you're right. I think people think I'm biased because I was a part of the draft, but I actually believe it's the from top to bottom. If you really go into the second round of our draft too and look at the guys and their careers, impactful players that made impacts in the league, I think we have the best draft class, top to
Yep,
bottom, from 1 to 60. Is it, can you argue the top 5 or 6 picks every year? Or this bad, this six was better? Yeah, of course. But top to bottom, 1 to 60 of guys being impactful and actually making impacts in the league and having great careers, I think the 96 class is the best class ever. And you can and I think it's funny. It's like a trivia question. You like, damn, let me see who won the second round.
yeah, yeah,
You're gonna be
yeah,
like, oh damn, damn, he was nice. Oh no, he was good. You know what I mean? You're gonna get it gives you that type of feel because I mean, Kobe Bryant went 13 in our draft. I
right,
mean, think about that. Kobe went 13. Steve Nash was 16. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about two of the
yeah,
arguably top two guards that ever played the game. You know what I mean? Easily.
yep,
They was in there. You know what I mean? Early, Ray Allen, great two guard. People don't even talk about Kerry Kittles, great pro.
yeah,
Um,
yep,
God rest his soul, Lorenzen Wright was a 7 pick.
yep,
Good big man that was in
big
there. So
fella,
we had so many good players. Marcus Camby, who had a great career. You know what I'm saying? So we had so many guys. Sharif Abdul Rahim. I mean, the list goes on and on
yeah,
when you actually look at our draft class and look at the success these guys had in the league. It ain't just so much about getting
yep.
drafted. Everybody, I'm telling you, have had impacts in the league and have played and made major contributions. Decide how much money they made. Everybody in that class has almost had a max deal, so that lets you
Yep.
know that too as well.
Obviously, you get into the league, you getting your feet wet, you figuring things out. Did you have
Mm.
like a OG vet or anybody to help like walk you through? Obviously, you coming from Chicago, so they're ample. Like you said, you got Naz Muhammad is probably walking in at the same time a little bit, give or take some years. You got
Mm.
Juwan Howard, you got, obviously MJ and the Bulls, what they had going on down there. Did you have a vet to kind of bring you along and put their arm around you?
Honestly, man, I was very fortunate, man, to get drafted by the Celtics. So a story tradition. A lot of people don't know when I first got there, the first couple years, you still had I was ML Carr was the head coach and the GM.
Yep.
So he's Celtic. So my assistant coach, Casey Jones, the great Casey Jones, was assistant coach. You had Tommy Heinsohn, Bob Cousy doing TV, radio, Cedric Maxwell, JoJo White was a part of the organization. Even Larry Bird was a part of the organization my rookie year. So I was around that tradition. Um, it was something special, bro, to be honest, because
Yeah.
all those guys were still involved. Red Auerbach was around my first couple years. Red used to
Okay.
be in practice, smoking cigars. I got a great picture of me and Red talking to me in practice one day, smoking this, like he was the only person that could ever be in the building smoking a cigar. Nobody ever
Of
tell him to
course.
put a cigar out. Like that, it was so to be around that, to get drafted by that organization and that tradition was special for me because it kept the basketball. You knew the tradition, you knew you had to work hard, you knew what you was coming behind. So it put you in a different mindset. And my first year we were horrible. We won 15 games. We was in a rebuilding process, but I played well. It was a chance for me to develop, get a lot of playing time, get a lot of minutes. So that's what was great for me. And then obviously my second year, that's when Patino came in and things changed and all that. But my first year getting drafted up to the and then my first year being around those legends and great players and understanding and believing in Celtic Green was something special.
Clearly, you guys had nothing but success out there. Obviously, you guys went through a coaching change. You got to link back up with your old Kentucky coach, which is amazing.
Hmm.
But also, kind of, this is when we start seeing the birth of Cyber Twine. Like, tell me about
Hmm.
like how your game transitioned and you started to level up after you finally got your rhythm together.
Well, when I came in, I was a three,
Yep.
so that was different for me. I was playing small forward. I played kind of power forward in college, so that was my first transition. So at the three, you're talking about Scottie Pippen, Dominique Wilkins, just elite guys. I got to play 4 times a year, so it's a different guard for me. Chasing. So that was a process in my rookie year. So that took some adjusting to do. But I ended up figuring it out and ended up having a really good rookie campaign. Allen Iverson obviously was tremendous and beat me out for rookie year. I was putting up huge numbers his
Yep.
rookie year.
Yep.
But I was in the mix in there with him. But my second year, honestly, when Rick Pitino came in and took over, because obviously he's the one guy that knows my game. And a lot of people don't know this. When he took over, he moved me from small forward to power forward. And that's when the game changed for me. He gave me an opportunity to get mismatches on the offensive end. Now I got power forwards trying to come out to the perimeter and guard me. I can shoot the three, take them off the
Out the
dribble,
dribble.
and end up having a monster year. The year he came in, averaged 22 and 10 or something like that. I made my first All Star game in '98. It was like the perfect. I couldn't write a better storybook. You know what I mean? To be able to get back under my coach who knew me the best, and he let all my skills come out. So he used me the best. So that's really what spearheaded my career. Is Coach B coming in, even though we didn't have a lot of team success,
Yeah.
and we didn't reach our accomplishments as a team, but individually, basketball wise, was special for me because he knew my game so well, and he put me in positions where I could thrive in.
Absolutely. It's funny. I was watching the episode and Shaq was going through his list of everybody who was talking shit, who was the worst talker. He was like, man, he an asshole. He go through the list like he an asshole. Then at the end he goes, yeah, Antoine Walker, he an asshole too. I said, man, that's good. Were you really like that on the court? Like, of course, we see all the, you shimmy, knock down the three, throw the, the shimmy out there. But like, were you giving a little talk to behind it as well?
I wouldn't say I was an asshole, but I just played with a lot of fire and a
Yeah.
lot of competitiveness. I'm from Chicago. You know
Yep.
how we do it. We're competitive. We talk trash. That was just something I did. I wasn't as wild as KG Pitino was, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I was up there. You know what I mean. That's how we played though. That's how we would go at each other, challenge each other. So it's crazy. Shaq. I got to play against Shaq 4 times when I went to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yep.
So he had to guard. We played small ball. So he had to guard me a lot. Oh, and I used to have Shaq on that island because how he had to come out and shoot the three. I'm going by him. You know what I'm saying? But on the other hand, though, he still was dominating. I'm wrapping him up, fouling him. So we used to always go at it. This is back from when I was with the Mavericks
Yeah.
because we played small ball. Don Nelson played a lot of small ball. So I would be at the center spot. So Shaq hated it because he had to come on the perimeter and try to guard me. But yeah, but that was just in my nature, man.
Yeah.
To be able to talk trash, and it was just something I do. And two, by me dancing, that's like a form of talking
Of
trash.
course. You gonna
Yeah,
dance while we
so
hooping and we taking this serious. You over here
yeah,
having
yeah. So
fun.
by right, so by me doing my little wiggle, made people like really like, oh, this nigga, he crazy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I mean? He talking trash. So that really made a lot of people mad too. But that's how I play. That's how I fed off my energy to get me to play my best.
We're coming back to Chicago for a second because I swear, I
Uh-huh.
promise you, I want to do this documentary. I know I can't do it. I'm gonna just pull out all the Chicago guys and we just gonna tell the story together. But summertime in Chicago in the late '90s, early 2000s, Randolph
Mhm.
Street hoops the gym. First of all, when you're getting off that expressway, you pull up to a car show. First of all, you start. Let's start there. Like start from the pull up. That's what I want to start from, Twine. Like you
well,
were
let
definitely in the building. So like let's start from the pull up because you came with something ridiculous.
let me give a little small backstory to it. So basically, and after my third, well, just 2001. So in 2001, after my going into my fifth year, we get knocked out the playoffs or whatever. I get a phone call. This is back when you can call private.
Yep.
Let's call you private. Get a phone call from Michael Jordan. And at the time, obviously, I knew Mike. I played against him, but we wasn't friends. Mike called and was like, "Hey, I hear you guys playing pickup ball every day. I heard you got to run. Um, I need you guys in the gym with me." And this Michael Jordan, bro. Like I ain't gonna lie, I'm in awe. I can't believe he on my phone.
Yep.
I'm like, all right. So like this particular time, bro, I'm about to go on vacation. I'm about to kick it for about a month. I'm about to party. I stopped everything. I'm like, I ain't going nowhere.
Nowhere.
I'm back in the gym. So he was like, he introduced me. I had knew Tim Grover from when I came
Right.
out, but he was like, look, we're gonna work out with Tim every day. I need you to get all the guys to the gym. We gotta play pickup, we gotta lift work. And it changed my life, bro. I started getting up in the morning. I would go lift with Mike in the morning. We would do the early session. Or actually Juwan and Mike Finley would go, they were like the first people in the gym. They would do the early lift session. Then me and Mike would come in and everybody started twinkling in. And
Yep.
Mike put that bat single out there to the league and the world that he possibly could be coming back. And he just called all the guys, man, from around the country, all the top players to come in and play pickup ball. And he just wanted that fire and get it back. And man, it was one of the things that changed my life to watch somebody at his age come back, work on his body, determined to be the best. The work ethic that it took to be the best, his competitive spirit. I've never met anybody in my life more competitive than Michael, on and off the court. It just changed me. If you wasn't a winner, he would let you know it. And that's just playing pickup ball, whether you playing cars, whether racing cars, it could be anything. He was about winning. And
Yep.
so it just changed my mentality and my approach to the game. And I just got a unique opportunity. I never traded in, and I always like to share your stories. It changed my life to be able to be around that guy for 2 years of my life and to watch him work and at his age and to watch his commitment to the game just taught me so much. And I think that's why I was able to be able to go play with a Shaq and D Wade and win a championship and be a big part of that because of what he taught me and what I learned through his workouts. But back to the runs were incredible, man. It was so crazy for about a 6 week period. If you lose that first game, you may not get back on. And you talking about you dedicated to work, it's 30 pros sitting in the gym, bro.
Yeah.
So we would literally have to start another court and basically be like, cause so guys can get their workout in, get their work in.
Yep.
And the runs were so competitive, man. You would thought we were playing for a championship. We were playing a seven. We had referees because Mike didn't like players calling their own fouls. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Of
saying?
course.
So we
Of
would have
course.
So we had referees too, man. So it was a great summer, man. I mean, unbelievable. And it's funny, I watched Bobby, Michael Jordan fall in love with Bobby from that. You know what I mean? Just see guys' life change. I mean, Bobby played so well at that time. MJ was like crazy. And if you ever noticed that, I don't know if Bobby ever shared the story, but like that's Bobby ended up, man, on the Wizards most improved. I mean, all that stuff. Like it was all from that transactional time of us working and being together and pushing each other and being competitive.
Yep.
I'm talking about we going at it. We looking forward. We going at it every night. But
But
one thing I learned about Mike in that situation is learning how to take the game serious. And if you're gonna have fun, if you're gonna burn both ends of the candle, you got to put the same effort in as you're gonna put in off the court. So if you're gonna go kick it to 4, 5 in the morning, you got to come get it in.
yep.
You got to get your ass up at 8, 9 and get it in
Yep.
and put the same dedication in. Um, so I think that's what like really stood out to me. Is like, hey, yeah, you can party, you can kick, you can do everything, but you got to get this work in. This
Yep.
this never changes.
Yep.
And just an amazing 2 years of my life to be able to be a part of that. I always feel like he kind of helped me forward, pushed me forward in the sense of respecting the game, putting the work in, being part of a team, understanding how important winning is. Even though I had won in college, but he would always say, "You never won nothing. You never won nothing." It was just something about that motivated me, like we want to be a part and get one.
Go get the next one.
And luckily, and yeah, and I finally got one. I finally got in that. I finally got in that unique class of winning the
Absolutely.
NBA
Getting
championship.
that
But yeah, that's
championship.
that. Yeah, but that's what it was about, man. Chicago basketball is best. I mean, and at that time, bro, a lot of people don't even know this. We had 25, 30 pros just here on our
In
own.
Chicago alone.
Yeah, just in Chicago, the guys I haven't even mentioned. I mentioned Juwan, Michael Finley, Donnie Boy, Sherrill Ford. You got guys, Quentin Richardson,
Yep.
Darius Miles was being here all the time. We had Eddie Curry. We had so many guys that were from Chicago, the Will Bynums,
Yep.
Tony Allen. You had so many guys that were still here
Yep.
playing pickup. Andre Iguodala. I'm just the name. Everybody's just starting to come
Just
to me
starting to
as we
come back.
talking,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had 30 pros every day. You know what I mean? On top of guys coming in town and playing pickup ball with us that would come in.
Yep.
But we had our own set of guys every day that got it in. And
Absolutely.
I think that's what made Chicago special. And especially when Mike got involved and started coming back, the gym used to be packed, bro. You lose that first game, you sit.
You
You may
do.
have to sit two. You may have
That's
to sit two
crazy.
games.
You got to sit
Yeah, you
two
may
games after.
you may have to sit two. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough. That's why it was so important that guys came in and got their lift in, and then you got your individual instruction in. Because the run, you may not, if you don't run the court that day, you may not get that bump.
Damn.
You know what I'm
Damn.
saying?
And I'm sure like the OGs like Mike Finn and Jawan was like, hey, no, I'm on this next game regardless. So if you was one of the rookies, you know what I'm saying? They was gonna play the vet card. It's just inevitable. That's
Yeah,
just
because
what it is.
everybody, yeah, because some guys came just to play pickup ball, and if you wasn't really a client of Tim Grover, I mean, obviously it's Tim's job to make sure his clients play and get their work in. So that was the thing too. You're 100% right because sometimes the paying clients play first.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
To keep it real, that's what it was, and sometimes that played a big part of it too.
Absolutely. Something that Q even spoke of. He just talking about the competitive run in there. He was like, man, he was like, people didn't realize, and like you said, this was damn near like you playing in the playoffs. He was competing against like Penny Hardaway and Tim
Yeah.
Hardaway and like that. How Grover would match them up and say, "I'm putting dog on dog." Like that's how it was for
Yes.
him. Who was kind of that mesh, that core group with you? Because like you said, you done moved from small forward to the power forward in the summer. Like who was that dog that he was kind of putting around you to just kind of head bash again?
Oh, and the two that I had my battles with Juwan Howard and Bobby Simmons. I mean, like guys, like skill set. We both
Yep,
we all of us could shoot, dribble. We had, what I mean, but we were 6'8", 6'9", versatile guys. So we always matched up really well. Darius Miles, when he came in town, when he was here, and he really was. We really consider him Chicago because he was really with us the whole time too. So like
absolutely.
Darius, Andre Brown,
Yep,
he was another guy, 6'8", 6'9",
yep,
athletic.
yep,
He was really good in the runs and playing pickup. Big Justin, like it was so many, like that's what I was saying with so many guys that you don't think about, but on an everyday grind, that was it. Charles Oakley would come in, even though Oak wasn't necessarily the offensive minded guy, but he was gonna guard you, he was gonna foul you hard, he was gonna make every bucket tough. He was a part of the runs every day. Mike picked him on his team every day,
yep,
the
yep,
rebound and
yep,
set picks. And so it was just that's what made the run so special because you was going to get work not only against your peers, but actually against guys that guarded you during the season.
yep,
You know what I'm
yep,
saying? So
yep,
that's what
yep.
made it really special in the runs.
No,
So
absolutely,
I have to
absolutely.
commend Mike. Mike made it very not saying that we didn't have a good run already, but the put the referees involved to really tighten the game up. Guys really getting out there, the competitive, because you playing a seven, it ain't a lot of room to bull crap around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You
There's
playing a
two
seven,
threes in a layup. Hey,
yeah,
next.
yeah. So it's like playing a seven, guys are up in you, they guarding, they competitive. But those runs were legendary, man.
Man,
I wish back then the way we walk around with these phones and film everything that go on in our life. I wish we would have did it. We never, think about it. Back then, 2001, 2002, three, we wasn't guys wasn't pulling their phones out in the gym.
we had a two-way. You had a two-way. You had a Nextel. That's all we was rocking with. We wasn't out here taking pictures of everything.
Yeah, so stuff like that was just not happening, man, back then. So I
Yeah,
wish we could have got footage of that. But I wouldn't trade
absolutely.
those runs in for nothing in the world, man. That was legendary.
Man. If I know one thing, obviously y'all play hard. Not everybody was privy to go to hoops. Other people was hooping at all the other gyms, the Foster Parks, the Fosco Parks, wherever around the city. But what we also knew was you just like you said, you was gonna play, you was gonna work hard, but you was gonna party hard too, Twan. You had some of the best parties. I'll never forget. It was one for your birthday. We was at Joe's on Weed Street. You had Oak in the corner, Mike over here on this corner at the bar. You had the greatest R&B singer in the world jumped on stage. You know what I'm like?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Kales
yeah,
jumped
yeah.
on stage. It was just like, man,
Yeah,
Chicago always showed love for you at every turn.
yeah. Yeah, we burned both ends of the candles, man.
Yeah, I
I can't
did.
even lie about that. We definitely burned both ends of the candle. But Mike, my best friend, what I mean, was a party promoter. He started doing parties, him and Corey Bradford, and
Yep.
they started doing parties in the city. And I mean, I knew what was going on, so I used to just kick it and have a good time because we actually had the best parties. But that was something that we did, but we kept the main thing, the main thing. Even no matter how much we partied, we was at the gym every day, bro. Like we was at the gym 4 or 5 days a week. That was something that we did no matter what. And earlier in my career, I wasn't a huge drinker, so I really didn't drink a lot back then. Early in my career, so I think it was a little easier for me to get up and get on top of my stuff. But we still partied till 4, 5, 6 in the morning.
Right.
Still was out. We was drinking. Um, but it was just one of those things, man. Where we kept the main thing, the main thing. We had fun, but the work had to get in, no matter what we did. So I think that's what made it. I think that's what made us able to get through it and still be successful on the court
Yep.
because of that.
Yep. For sure. You obviously you made All Star team 3 years. You were on that iconic cover of NBA Live '99. You were obviously the cover of Slam magazine, the inserter, the whole '96 class. Like that was iconic. Like all those. How did you balance all of these different obligations throughout the league? Because I feel like we're in a day and age now, NIL, even with the collegiate players, but like now there's so much coming at you. You know what I mean? From every different angle. How did you kind of balance that throughout your career and still stay focused on, wanting to get after that championship and lead you to the one that you won with the Heat?
Um, I was in a situation where I've been around a lot of guys early in my career, to being around the Michaels and those guys, and
Yep.
understanding prioritizing certain things and understanding that we had to be in the gym. That's first and foremost, and then everything else kind of behind that. The good thing too, though, I think I signed with David Falk at that time when I came out, which is probably the most powerful agent, representing the best guys at the time. He represented Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Juwan Howard. When I came out, so he was representing the top 15, 20 guys in the league. So that's the transition that made it kind of easy for me because those guys really kept my schedule tight knit.
Yep.
I would only do deals and do things that were meaningful, that made sense. Um, so that's what it was. And I think also too, I think organizational wise, where you get drafted, that's really really important. Celtics being a basketball, organization that with a lot of pride, they demand excellence. They love to win. So it was a mentality that you had, and you knew to keep basketball first and everything else second. So that's how I was able to really just to balance it out, and it was really no secret to it. Basketball came first, and then everything else came after that. So just make sure you get your work in first, regardless of what that may be, and then take care. You have the other obligations as they come.
Absolutely. So you reached that pinnacle place. Not only did you do it just in Miami, right? You did it with, D Wade also from the crib, but then you had Jawan who was also from the crib. Tell me what that was like to reach that next level, win that championship, and hit that mark for you as you kind of start to come to the conclusion of your career.
Winning championship was the best thing ever, man. Playing with that team, I played with you named a couple guys, Shaq D Wade. Don't forget Gary Payton,
GP, yep,
Alonzo Mourning was on that team. James Posey, Jay Will, White Chocolate was
yep,
was on that team. Um, Playing for Pat Riley. Um, just played with a Hall of Fame group, a very competitive group. It was a special group of guys, a special season. We used to have a slogan that says 15 strong. And one thing that I always tell people about that season that was special um, was that we had a team that really hung out in the NBA. You never really see that
mm,
in the NBA. People don't understand that. In the NBA, yeah, you play together, you hang out, but we used to have 8, 9 guys hanging out together on the road, which is a rarity. we were together no matter what throughout that season. The goal was to win a championship. We had a good season. We didn't have a great season. We won 52 games. Shaq missed the first 20 games. He got hurt. I mean, it was some bumps in the road, but we never wavered. We always stayed together. And what's special about that, and I always tell people about that season, was that I watched D Wade become D Wade, if that makes sense to anybody that
No,
understands
I know.
sports. I watched D Wade become D Wade, and to watch him become a special player, a superstar, was something special. Obviously, we all know the finals was amazing. After 35, arguably one of the best finals of any individual player ever. But just to watch how he grew and became a superstar, to be able to play with Shaq, Alonzo was special. Gary Payton, and me and Gary had just played the year before in Boston together. So we both actually came in together to Miami, and to win one was special too. So that's what I remember most about it, about those times, and about winning the championship and being around that group, was the history of it. Um, these guys are Hall of Famers, being around a Hall of Fame coach, and the way we did it. We did it our way. You know what I mean? And I always say that it was fun, exciting. We burned both ends of the candles. We was a team that partied and hung out during the season, but we was also a team that won and competed. So it was just a magical, special 2005, 2006 season that I always remember for the rest of my life.
Absolutely, absolutely, and congratulations on that. I mean, nobody really gets the opportunity to say that there's only a select few who actually make it to that level and win a championship at each one, especially being from this
I don't
way.
know how many it is now. It's definitely not 100. And the last time I checked, which was years ago, I think it was like 50 guys that did it on both. But I'm it's probably 70 guys. It's probably done it.
Yeah,
You
absolutely,
know what I mean?
absolutely,
I mean, it's a great trivia question.
absolutely. I'm gonna go look it up. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna let you know.
I guarantee it's probably not 100 guys. It's
All right, for
definitely under
sure.
100.
For sure. All right, so clearly, end of the career comes. You taking the shoes off for the last time. What was that kind of mental? Did you go through a mental kind of space of like not having the game around you anymore, the routine? What was that experience for you?
It was tough, man. My ending didn't end the way I wanted to.
Yeah,
It was very difficult. I didn't go out the way I wanted to. Um, I was in Memphis. I'll never forget, I was in Memphis and I wasn't getting much playing time. I was in the last year of my contract. And I made a bonehead mistake, got frustrated, and ended up taking the buyout, leaving the team halfway through the season without a place to go, which was probably the dumbest thing I ever could do. You shouldn't leave. No, obviously, I know better than that, to leave one place and not have another place to go. But I made the decision and did it, and I didn't get picked up, and it was very humbling, and it made me have to really sit down and think about what I'm gonna do. And I grind on it for a couple years, trying to get back in the league, get back into a good situation. And it never happened. And I got a unique opportunity. I got a phone call. I'm sitting at home, and team from Puerto Rico called me like, "Hey, I mean, you still want to play?" And I'm like, I had been working out, but not basketball working out.
yeah,
And I was like, you know what? I still love the game. I was sitting there in Miami, Puerto Rico's a short flight. I'm
yeah,
right up the street from there. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go. And I went over to Puerto Rico and kind of like got my love back a little bit to play.
yeah,
It's a short season. I ended up playing, half the season over there, but it gave me an opportunity to kind of get back into the game and kind of get the love of the game back. And I finally was like kind of ready to make a commitment again to it. So I came back from there and went on a journey. I called Coach Pitino. I went back home, called my roots. He was in Louisville. And I called Coach Pitino and I was like, hey, I'm trying to get back in the league. And he brought me in the office, bro, and humbled the shit out of me. And he was like, look, how much you weigh now? Got on the scale. I probably was like 260, 265. He was like, he brought two dumbbells out. He was like, pick those up. It was like, I think 220-pound dumbbells. And he was like, that's how much extra weight you walking around with. You can't play basketball like that. And I was like, damn. And I never looked at it. He was like, walk around my room with these two dumbbells. And he was basically like, this how much extra weight you holding on you. He was like, you can't come back and play basketball like this. So after that, bro, I didn't even leave. I stayed in Louisville. I never forget. Nazi was living in Louisville. And obviously a lot of people know Nazi's one of my best friends, was living in Louisville, and he was like, "Look, I'm gonna get you an apartment." Nazi got me an apartment, and mind you, I'm in the league. He
I'm
I'm
got
about
about
to
to
me an
say
say
you
you
in
in
the
the
apartment.
league,
league.
he,
and
And
he
Nas
Nas
got
came
came
through
through
in
in
the
the
clutch.
clutch.
Nas got me an apartment, gave me one of his cars. He was like, "Yo, you ain't got to bring no car up here." Gave me one of his cars because he was living in Louisville at the time,
Got
Got
you.
you.
and
Okay.
gave me a car and was like, "Man." So I stayed up there, man. Did tour days every day by myself with the coaches, and lost 30, 35 pounds. Got back in really great basketball shape, and just dedicated myself for like the next 4 months, and um, didn't get that phone call, bro. Went and worked out for a couple teams. I was with Charlotte for a while in the summer, that summer, and that phone didn't ring, bro. Like it was like not the fact
Yeah.
that I wasn't ready. I had prepared myself. It's just like my time had passed.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's kind of like, when the opportunity is there, you take it. But when it's not, it was like I couldn't find a fit, couldn't find a where to find a home, and that's what made me go to play in Idaho. And in
Oh,
Oh,
the
okay.
okay.
D
In
League
the
was
G
my
League.
last. It was my last hurrah at it. Randy Livingston was the coach there, and I was sitting at home not doing nothing. And he's like, "Hey, you still want to play?" I'm like, "Nah." I'm like, maybe." They were 0-8. They were not doing well. I had kind of turned the engines off. I wasn't really going to play. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing nothing. I'm like, let me go out here and see. So I went and played for the Idaho Stampede. But it took me like 6 weeks to get in shape, to get in like real good basketball competitive shape. So I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
playing out there working out, playing, but I'm not where I need to be. So it took me. So by the time the showcase came to get to the league, the D League showcase came, I wasn't where I need to be. So I missed my beat. So as soon as the showcase is over, I took off. Now I'm getting the 20 and 20s. Now I'm putting up 20 and 15. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm starting to put the work
Now
Now
in.
everybody
everybody
see
see
what,
what,
like,
like,
okay,
okay,
this is
this is
what
what
we
we
missed
missed
out
out
Yeah,
on.
so
on.
I end up actually starting 0-8. I think we ended up finishing out. I don't know. We ended up playing close to 500. We
Okay.
ended
Okay.
up making a great run, turning the season around. I ended up playing great or whatever. And after that summer and not getting the phone call, bro, you know how it is. I'm in the dark. I'm sitting in the room, and I just had to look myself, man. A lot of tears,
Yeah.
not knowing what I would do after basketball, trying to figure life out. Um, but the phone wasn't ringing, bro. It was no. It was. I knew the phone was not going to ring anymore, and I knew I was going to have to do something else in life. And I remember sitting in the locker room. I'll never forget this. Because I actually went back, and I kind of didn't tell you, but I went back the second year to, to training camp with Idaho Stampede to try again. But I was going to start the season off with them.
Okay.
And I went in the locker room, and after like the first two exhibitions, I think it was one or two games, bro, I just was like, I don't got it no more. I was like, it's over.
Yeah.
You know how,
Yeah.
as a basketball player, you want to make, in your mind, you want to cross somebody over, but you can't cross them over.
Yep.
You know what I
That's
mean? You know
your
what I'm
mind
saying?
telling you
What
what
it
it
is
is
you
you're
Yeah,
supposed
supposed
to
to
do,
do,
I,
but
but
your
your
I could
body
body
ain't
play
ain't
like I
doing
doing
was
it.
it.
in. Yeah, I could play. I was in good shape, but I couldn't get by the people like I wanted to. I didn't have. I had like kind of lost that confidence of dominance of what I've
Yeah.
always had my whole career, and I just looked myself, man, just cried myself to sleep like it's over, big fella, and just
Yeah.
went to Randy and said, man, I appreciate the opportunity. You know, but I'm going home, man. It's over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's
It's
a
just one of
wrap.
those things. Yeah, and it was tough, but I knew my time had passed and it was time to do something else.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, you've been very vocal and you shared your financial situation that you went through, which clearly we'll get to that point in a second. But tell me a little bit about those kind of moments that you knew that was like, man, I'm doing this way too much, too frequently. Where were those spaces that you saw of like, hey, I see this is why I'm in this financial situation?
Well, for me, I think it's a little different. I lived a very expensive lifestyle. I'll be the
Yeah.
first one to tell anybody that. But for me, I invested in the real estate market really heavily. Most of my financial portfolio was geared that way, and that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. So in 2008, a lot of people that obviously young people don't know that I got caught in a recession. And the way I set up my financial deals and my real estate deal was not the best way. It wasn't the worst
Mm.
way, but it wasn't the best way. So basically, I used my financial portfolio to borrow money from banks. So we had borrowed money from seven, eight different banks, but I'm still on the hook for this. So when we hit the
Yep.
recession in 2008, I owe the money. So we buying all this property. We're building this beautiful portfolio. We're doing all these great things around the city of Chicago. But I'm on the hook for this money if these developments, if these projects don't get finished, anything that goes on in real estate, I'm on the hook for them. And that's what happened. In 2008, we hit a recession and the banks wanted their money back. So all the
Yep.
money that we had already spent building stuff, dishing stuff out, they like, hey, we need that money back. And got caught in the recession. And
Yeah.
it's like no other way around it. I was the personal guarantor of the company. So I was at full 100% reliability of everything that went on. And I just looked at my financial portfolio. I wasn't broke. I had money. I had plenty of money.
Yeah.
But when I had to pay that, when I had to pay the money back dollar for dollar. It really killed me and set me back and put me in a bad space. And then on top of that, I know you didn't ask me about it, just to elaborate on it, just was another small story to it, is that I had been in Vegas gambling, I lost like 900,000 in over like a 6, 7 month period. It was time
Yeah.
to pay the money back.
Yeah.
So it was like I'm dealing with this. Now I gotta write a big check for 800, 900,000.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so now Vegas is fighting me. Vegas fights me, takes me to court. I had to go to court just to get a payment plan, bro. Like
Wow.
they were trying to, like
Wow.
they wanted all of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was like,
Yeah.
man, I can't write a big check for $1 million. I'm in a tight situation over here. So my walls were closing on me all at once.
Yeah.
So it just took me a minute. It took me a year and a half to just like get control, put things in place, get back on my feet, just make a lot of moves. And it just all happened at once. And this is with no income coming in. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I had to like, make sure that I'm good, my family's good, everything was in place. So it was a trying time. It was a dark moment in my life. Um, I thank my family for being very supportive, never turning their back, never like, staying the course, keeping the course. My kids were great. And we just wiggled through it, man. It was tough though. I had to
Yeah.
wiggle my way through it. Had to figure out what I want to do in life as I try to find something else to do. I knew I wanted to be in sports in some capacity, so it led me to doing TV. It led me to working the Players Association, giving back, being a part of the financial literacy team. That was therapeutic for me. Being able to tell my story to guys and help other guys out. So I just figured out more creative ways to to tell my story, be a part, and just turn this negative story into a positive story. So it was great, man, in that sense of being able to turn it around and get things in a more of a positive state. But yeah, it was a dark period for about a year and a half, man, where just because I've never been in that space before.
I was gonna say like it seems like it's just a space. It's just all those the outside looking in. They're like, man, how could you be so just frivolous and using your money? You put money over here, you spend the money, you out partying this, and like that's what you think it is. And of course, you live a different lifestyle, but
Yeah.
what
But
people
I
all
always tell guys, like my main thing right now is tell guys, hey, look, I live the expensive lifestyle. I know certain things. I tell young guys now as I'm a part of the financial team and education process with guys, I know it's certain things you're gonna do. It's gonna be the car, it's gonna be the watch, it's gonna be, certain things that we're gonna spend money. That's our culture, that's how we are.
yep,
Um, but I think the big thing for me is to always tell guys about you got to think about you got generation wealth money. You got money that you can save for the rest of your life. You can take care of yourself, your kids, their kids. So you have to think about that. And it's tough to tell a 20-year-old to think about 40. The toughest thing in the world to tell a kid, you know, you have to think about 40 years old because it's coming. And you also have to get the word no in your vocabulary. I'm not telling you you can't help people, you can't help your family, you can't do certain things. When you make a lot of money, you got to become, no, don't get me wrong, you're going to help a lot of people, you want to do a lot of great things, but you got to get a little selfish sometimes because you're going to set a lifestyle for yourself that you want to maintain for the rest of your life. And if you don't do the proper things to do that, to be able to maintain that once the money stops coming in. See, people always don't know this, and this is like a key thing I always try to tell people. I made money for 13 years. Yeah. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, be honest. I made money for 13 years. That's it. I haven't made money my whole life. I made money for a 13-year gap, whatever that number is. I made money for 13 years. I didn't make money my whole life. So 13 years. And on top of the 13 years, let's keep it real. And a lot of people don't want to never talk about this. You 50% in taxes.
You taxed up.
Yeah. So
Entertainment
let's
tax.
yeah. So
Every time y'all go up across the border to Canada, you paying another
you pay
tax on top
you
of
pay
it.
tax you pay taxes in 30 states.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the number varies, but you pay tax in 30 states. So I think that's the education part to it. So I think sometimes people look at, oh, he blew this, he blew that. Yeah, yeah, you take responsibility for that. But it ain't all pieces and cream too. You gotta manage it right, do certain things the right way,
Yep.
and make
Yep.
sure that you get the proper direction and counseling in that process. I just learned the hard way.
Yep.
I had to go through it. So
Yep.
one thing that I've made a conscious effort of in my I would say the last 6, 7 years of my life, is to help the young guys. Is to help them not make the same mistakes that I made. And I'm very passionate about that. And I feel like it's my job and my duty as an ex NBA player to give back to other NBA players, just to share. Now, guys can do what they want to do. I can sit here and tell you do X, Y, Z. You be like, oh man, I ain't listening to you. But it's my job to share with you, to make you aware. You can be on top of the mountain. Things can happen. You can get all the greatest things with your money and be in one bad investment deal that could throw you off. I mean,
Yep.
it can happen that easily. So I just try to be a somebody that they can learn from. I try to share my story with them. Try to use my story as a not a negative story, but use it as a positive story. Try not to make the same mistakes I made. Change it up a little bit. Figure it
Yep.
out. I'm not telling you not to have a good time. I'm not telling you not to take care of your family. I'm not telling you not to do certain things, but you got to think about 45, 50, 60 years old. Do you want to continue to live that lifestyle? Do you want to continue to have money that you don't have to work the rest of your life, where you don't have to do anything? You've earned that right to do that. You know this. You play ball. We're the ones running them suicides.
Yep.
You the one, man, you the
Yep.
one getting up early in the morning, lifting those weights and doing the work, getting
Yep.
up 1,000 shots. So why not be able to enjoy your fruits of your labor at the end? But
Absolutely.
in order to do that, you have to be able to have discipline,
Yep.
save, and preserve. And and I'm not, and you know me, I'm the first one to say have a good time. I had a good time my whole time. I'm not saying you can't have it, but you have to do it in moderation, and you have to do it in a smarter manner.
Yep. No, that's facts. You 100% right. You end up jumping into TV. You found other ways to advocate for financial literacy, financial wealth. Obviously, still staying around basketball as well. What's next? What's next for Antoine? Like because obviously basketball took, like you said, those 13 years, but there's so much more of life that's still left. Like what's next within the realm that you're going
Honestly, right
for?
now, and that's a great question. As I'm going through it, I love sports. I want to be in it. I do like TV. Have had my you know 6 new networks are starting this year. They're starting to hire people. Really thinking about putting my name in the hat. Um, Maybe working with a team in the front office. I've been working with the Celtics for the last 3 years in the front office, but it's been more on the marketing side, business side. I haven't had an opportunity to be on the basketball, actual on the court, being the basketball development
Mm-hmm.
side. Kind of wide open. I'm kind of wide open on where I want to be. I know I love sports, and I know that's my wheelhouse. Um, I like the fact of being able over the last, I would say 5, 6 years, to be able to be in the financial education space to helping athletes. I especially think now I want to actually relaunch that, because now with NIL and how big NIL's got, I think it's more important for guys like myself to
Yep.
step in and help these guys. Because as great as it is right now of guys getting this money, we got to still educate them, because they not thinking, 18 now,
Yep.
17, 18, getting these $1 million NIL deals and all these type of things are going on. I think it's now more important that I share my story, that I get back involved with the guys and help them out. So I really been trying to figure out a really good way to how can I be impactful to help these guys in this NIL space?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's something that I really want to work on over the next 6 to 8 months. And I'm talking about launch this really quickly. And just be a sounding board, man. Be a sounding board, be somebody that can help them because it's different now.
Yep.
I mean, we got 2,000, 3,000 kids in the transfer portal chasing money. You
Chasing
know what I
that.
mean?
And
And
that's all they
everything.
chasing.
We not even
Dan.
we yeah, they're not even chasing situation no more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're chasing money. So I think now it's even more important for me to gear back up, to get involved, and do it. I'm very passionate about being here.
Yeah.
About being involved in that. So that's what I'm doing right now. Like I said, I'm very blessed and fortunate to still be in sports. TV is, like I said, it's 5, 6 networks that's coming on. Hopefully I could join one. People are getting hired, left and right. I'm gonna
Yep.
put my name in the hat. Something happens, obviously, as well. Try to get, stay with the Celtics, connected with them as well. I've had a great relationship with them over the last 4 years. So, bro, to be honest, as long as I can be in sports in some capacity, that kind of keeps my engine going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love the game. I love watching the games. I'm locked into the playoffs right now, watching the games every night, enjoying that. But as long as as long as I never have to get out my wheelhouse with sports, man, I'm happy as it go.
Absolutely. No, right on, man. I could tell the passion that you have, not only just talking about sports, but also helping people learn about financial literacy. And what better person to do that than yourself, who's been through it from the collegiate standpoint to pro and even after. So you've seen the ebbs and flow of what the journey looks like. And I believe that that's something so important that a lot of these athletes should be invested in. So any way that I could even be of a resource to help with that or whatever it is to expedite the process, please don't hesitate to hit me up because obviously, just connected to this spaces. That's just what I do as well. But bro, man, I really appreciate you jumping on the podcast to share your story. You sent so many good nuggets, things that I didn't even know about and so many others did. So man, really appreciate you. Where can people kind of stay in tune with you and keep up with what you got going on?
I'm on social media, obviously, Instagram. I'm under Twan Walker under my name. Everybody's stuff gets hacked and all that, but I got the little blue check. I'm under Twan Walker on Instagram. And that's really where you follow me. I try to keep everything posted on there. Facebook as well, under my name and Facebook and stuff like that. So I try to, when I'm doing something positive and I'm trying to do something to get it out there, I kind of go through my social media channels and put it out there. So that's where you can find me at, man. You know what I mean? Um, I'm a Chicago guy. Unless something changes dramatically, unless some type of big job come, you'll
Yeah.
still catch me. You'll catch me in Chicago. This is
Yeah,
always home.
yeah,
It's
for
always
sure.
home.
Absolutely. Well, Twan, man, appreciate it. Last question. Who you got in the finals?
Man, I'm biased, man. I'm going for my Celtics, man. We're going for a repeat.
just checking.
I'm biased.
Just had to
I know,
check and
I know,
see.
I know, I know. We lost to the Knicks open night. I know everybody want to tank, but we all
Yeah,
right.
yeah. We gotta
We're
stop
all
taking
right though.
step
But
back jumpers and
I
get to the
got,
basket.
I got it. I got the Celtics repeating. I think, I just don't think nobody is deep enough, and what I mean, that could beat them. I think the Knicks will be a long series after giving them the confidence after game one, but we'll take care of business.
I got you. Twan, appreciate you, man. All those.
No
Be sure to hit
problem.
that like, follow, subscribe. We out. Second half. We out. Appreciate it.